Jay Yaley and Mike Bliss also made pit stops while we were away.
We were getting a report that McMurray had ran out of fuel, but fortunately at the end of the backstretch, so it timed out perfect for him. Away it's gone.
I think is that Jimmy Johnson coming on pit road now?
That's actually Casey Kane in the 5.
Kane's car, the 5. Gotcha.
Now remember, Jimmy Johnson had to restart 25th after replacing the right rear lug nuts and wheel 3 times and 3 different stops on 1 caution period. Boy, he's climbed the ladder. He's up to 8th.
And remember, Steve Burns talked about him in the mid-race report, and Steve, he's done that without having a caution to aid him.
Yeah, they've told him to be very patient, just pass one at a time, Larry Mack. In fact, Jimmy just reported the adjustments we made on the last stop have really helped the car. It is no longer loose.
And it's showing, Steve, because he is cutting some pretty fast laps right now. And just to follow up a little bit about the conversation of would the car be out of tolerance, you do have a tolerance, you know, as far as measurements go, particularly in the, I think, in the tread width in that area. So, and then if you have a problem during the race, NASCAR will work with you.
Yes, they will.
After inspection.
Johnson moving under Tony Stewart. This is for 7th. And here comes Truex on fresh tires against Earnhardt Jr. and Biffle. So he stayed out, made his stop after leading a bunch of laps, and he is now still on the lead lap, 19 seconds back, and trying to break a winless streak that stretches back to June of 2007 at Dover. It's been 168 races since Martin's been to victory lane.
And when you're down on the apron like that making passes, it is absolutely crucial that the spotter lets everybody know he's on the apron and he's coming up. And we got a car smoking here.
Oh, Jamie Mack.
4.
He's got an engine issue. That's coming out the exhaust pipe, and you could hear it when he came down the front straightaway like he's down a cylinder.
One blew up on the front stretch here, I think.
Yep. Jamie Mack got to lead a lap. And 5 laps after that, looks like he's headed for pit road.
No, Larry, with this new electronic fuel injection, I don't think this could happen, but he ran that car out of fuel. I wonder if that had anything to do with the issue now with the engine.
But you can hear him when he comes down the front stretch. It sounds like it's down a cylinder.
They're saying come in, they're going to black flag you. Just stay low here.
So McMurray gets down off the racetrack. The black flag would mean he would be ordered to the pits. They'll head there as Jimmy Johnson moves past Joey Logano for 7th place.
And man, Jimmy Johnson was below the yellow line, got that nose up along the side of the 20 car, and he just forced his way by. He's down below the yellow line right there, and he just makes enough room. Fortunately, Logano knew he was there and gave him a little room. Very little.
You know, when Jeff Hammond was up on the spotter stand, he talked about how well the 48 car looked like it was rolling the middle. And it's pretty much right there. You're off the throttle. You hadn't quite picked the throttle. And the car's almost turning on its own. I mean, it's just the car is really turning great.
And it is. Let's move up into the top 5. Now, Kyle Busch led a bunch of laps today, 52 of them so far. And Matty finds himself in 5th place, 10 seconds back.
Well, his car has certainly taken a turn for the worse, Mike. Kyle came on the radio and said that the kite is just absolutely way too tight. He cannot hold the bottom at all. He's really struggling compared to what he was earlier. He's also concerned, talking to Dave Rogers, whether it's the car being tight or if the racetrack is starting to make a dramatic change as the day is wearing on. Krista?
Matt, what a roller coaster day for Jeff Gordon. After starting 30th, he fought his way all the way up into the top 10. That's where he runs right now. But he came on the radio a few laps ago and told his team, we have gone too far. The car is loose in, tight under throttle. Right now, this car is junk.
You know, back to Matt's report, that's not uncharacteristic of a racetrack like this. Now that we've run over 200 laps and this rubber keeps going down on the racetrack, you can see it keeps getting blacker and blacker in the groove, and I'm not hearing as many drivers complain about being loose as in the early part of the race.
2 things have to happen with Kyle Busch in the 18. First of all, he has to not wreck that car, because that's a history he has of getting frustrated and overdriving and getting it in the wall. Second of all, move around, move up, move around on the racetrack, find a groove.
Kevin Harvick is your leader with 94 laps to go in the Subway Fresh Fit 500.
I like it hot. I like it slick. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
All right, bud. It's going to be a dogfight. We know it. And I've been wanting to say this for a while, boss. New leader, 48. We got a problem. Front tire's flat. Give me down. Go one up, one up, one up, one up. Go like hell, go like hell. Hard, 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 hard.
Welcome back to Phoenix, where the Subway Fresh Fit 500 has 85 laps to go.
Clock is out, clock is out.
Can you say perfect timing?
Fifth time today that we've waved the yellow flag. This comes at lap 228 with Kevin Harvick's lead of 2.7 seconds over Denny Hamlin and Mark Martin. Now erased.
You might say perfect timing. The drivers and their teams are saying not, because I think a lot of them are going to be just outside the fuel window.
That's where I like to be, just on the edge. Maybe I can make it.
Debris in turns 3 and 4 is the reason for this caution. Juan Pablo Montoya gets the free pass on this 5th caution flag of the day, and that will give us 21 cars on the lead lap when we restart.
See, Mike, guess what I was talking about, pit strategy. Now it's a perfect situation. Maybe I can, somebody will try to make it.
And what's really going to be interesting, I think, is the tire strategy here, because this might be your last opportunity to put tires on. We could see a mix bag. I think a lot of drivers will go with 4, but Krista, how about our race leader?
Kevin Harvick is in. He said, you guys, when we took left side tires earlier in this race, that was magic. Crew Chief Shane Wilson warned him, we can't make it on 1 can of fuel, but that's what they do. Matt?
And the 11 of Danny Hamlin hits pit road in the 2nd position. He says his car's a little bit on the loose end, but he likes it because it's really helping him rotate to the center of the corner, Steve.
Matt, Mark Martin saying his car is just a little bit too tight. They're going to take left side tires and make a small chassis adjustment for Mark Martin.
Thanks, Steve. Mark's last win 82 races ago. And when he won here in 2009 in this race, it broke a 97 race winless streak.
Left side tires is not, it's not a gamble. It's the right call to make. We've seen it work for everybody.
See, Jimmy Johnson went with 2 tires. I think that's the first time they've went with 2 tires today.
And Larry, we've talked about track position. You can't afford to sit there right now. If everybody's going to take 2 and you take 4, you'll never get to the front.
Let's get down to Chris Myers at the Hollywood Hotel.
Thanks, Mike, with Michael Waltrip, in time for an AT&T race break brought to you by the nation's largest 4G network, Rethink Possible. We have a record number of leaders for a Phoenix race. That is 15. Kevin Harvick has led the most laps at 83. It's been a little bit of action. Casey Kane, one of the favorites coming in. He last won on this track in the fall. Had problems early, had to come back in, and then brakes for Casey Mears.
Yeah, how would you like to dive into turn 1 at about 160 miles an hour, not have any brakes? That's what happened to Mears. You could see there coming off 2 Keselowski side, or excuse me, that's Allmendinger sideways. Jamie McMurray in the back over causes the crash.
With Paul Menard, and then earlier Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick racing each other hard. Kyle makes it easy for everybody not to like him. That was a comment from Kevin Harvick back in the media tour when they talked about each other. Their history goes back to 2010, and we've seen that play out right now, or at least going into the caution. Kevin Harvick was your leader. Kyle Busch led the 2nd most laps at 52. Do you still put those 2 as guys to watch towards the finish?
If it's a sprint to the finish, for sure. They're really fast as soon as they throw the green flag. You've watched on every restart and even the start of the race, Mark Martin fell back for a few laps before getting his car under him so he could charge back to the front. If it's a dash to the finish, it'd be pretty cool to see Harvick and Kyle Busch battling for it.
And the brakes, it's not going to get any better for any driver.
No, your brakes are hot now. They're only going to get hotter. You saw what happens if you have a pedal fade at all. He was on his brakes, but it didn't stop the car, slow the car down enough, and around the car went.
Jeff Hammond is at the smart board here in the Hollywood Hotel to help us understand a little bit more of the brakes picture. That's a little odd, you at the smart board, but we'll figure it out.
Well, I really appreciate that, Chris. Again, but again, well, let's go over here to our Ford Racing Tech car, and we can give you some idea kind of like what's going on in here, because one of the key things, and Larry McReynolds talked about it, Darrell Walters been talking about, is what can the drivers do as far as taking care of their brakes. One thing, keep your foot off it, but the other thing, we don't want to ever lose sight of the fact is located right here, and this is the brake adjuster. This is where you can adjust the front or rear brake. It's